I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
Man, that is a sad clown.
Dude, that's pretty good.
This is The Gloom, bringing you weekly interviews with F3 Omaha Packs, exploring their F3 experiences and finding those sticky elements that create the glue in the gloom.
On this episode, we've got a guy, we've been trying to connect with this guy for a long time, and he's been really busy, so I'm grateful that we have a chance to talk today. I know this guy because he's been doing F3 for over 4 years, but I had a chance, our team actually just won the Brick Builder event. No, I don't think we won, but he was on my Brick Builder team. Yeah, we gave it a shot. I've shared many runs and conversations with this guy, and I've just been impressed by the way he lives his life, the example he set. So TC is on the call today, and TC, we're happy to have you. And I think just where we like to start off is with your story of who EH'd you, if you remember the first workout, and then share with us the name TC. Where does that come from?
Amen. Thank you for your leadership. The Plague and Pony, who's not able to join us today, is making me super sad. But this is super cool what you guys are doing with the podcast. I enjoy listening to it. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me. We made it happen, finally.
That's right.
Here we are. Yeah, so 4 years ago, this past June, I started F3. But let me back up a little bit before that. My buddy Cyclone and I were running a 10K, the cornfield, which was in May, I think. And we got done with the race, and we were having a nice cold beer under the tent and telling stories and watching the beautiful people. And there was this swole-looking dude walking by with this black T-shirt. I just happened to notice what it said on the back. It said something about fitness and fellowship and Omaha. So he walked by, he's like, what is that? So we had our beer, and then he comes walking back, and being my extroverted self, just said, hey, buddy, come here. What's this T-shirt you got on? What is this thing? And it was Tonight Show. Nice. And being the him that he is, didn't hesitate to stop and chat it up and melt down, eyeball to eyeball, and told Cyclone and I all about it. And we're just like, all right then. So I went. I don't know, it was maybe the next week. I just picked a date and showed up. It was a small group at, I think what used to be the afternoon version of Cornhusker Handicap. Yep. And Wait Time and Selleck and some others there that Kurds and some people that have moved away. And we had a great workout, and it was all good. Took me back to my Army roots. We had a good sweat, and it came to be Namarama time. And I told them all about my backstory. Like, I grew up in Alaska, the youngest 10 kids on a dairy farm. I thought for sure there'd be a great Alaska name like Sourdough or Klondike or something like that. And then a little farther, I said, yeah, and I spent some time in the Army. I flew helicopters, and I'm manufacturing, yada, yada. Well, I was standing next to Selleck. So we had this Magnum PI flare in the air. And Wait Time didn't hesitate and just threw out TC. It took me a while. I was like, what are you talking about? What's TC? Well, that Magnum PI's helicopter pilot's name was TC. Okay. And that's, there was no discussion as how Namaramas go to fight back. It's like, wait, what about Sourdough or my childhood nickname? They're like, yeah, we don't want to hear about that. You're going to be TC. So yes, it was as everyone's experience has been, I'm sure that when you get named, it's weird and awkward, like, whatever, okay, whatever. But you take it and you go, and then later on, as things evolve, you come to really appreciate it. Yeah. And just in light of recent events with Roger Mosley, the OG TC, passed away this past week at the age of 83, and spending a little bit of time reflecting on who that man really was, or the character that he played, is yeah, man, it's it's actually a really cool honor, and I'm proud to have the name. You know, hopefully I can live up to the ideal of the guy who's always got the hero's back. He's got, Magnum PI was the man, TC was the man behind the man. And that is a role I relish, and it's a great honor to have that name. Yeah, thanks for asking. So here we are.
So is that why? So I have to ask, because you're often the guy that somebody says, "Hey, I need some help with," and you say, "Let me be your huckleberry," right? That's kind
I'll be your huckleberry. Yeah, I'm your huckleberry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, we just talked about this at Paradise Island this week, because it was Q Source 3.1 about shared leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my message, that, especially knowing my profession, where I'm a coach and consultant, where my job is to help people, leadership teams get better. And that, recognizing that one of the greatest honors in life is when someone asks you to help them. That someone trusts you enough that they see something in you that is of value to them. And what a blessing that is. You think about those times in your job, maybe, or your family, or your job specifically. You might be doing some work and your boss comes up and says, "Hey, Brennan, I'm working on this thing, kind of struggling over here. Can you come take a look at this for me? What do you think?" It's like, wow, the boss cares what I think. Right? It's the spirit of that.
Yeah.
That when someone needs help and they reach out to you, to see that as a huge sacred honor and a blessing, So yeah, that's it, man. Just as a side note too, because we're talking about names, I like to have a little fun with TC as well, because TC is like, well, what does that stand for? Well, whatever the hell I want it to stand for. Formally Theodore Calvin, if you want to get technical, but it could be, total chaos, terrible catastrophe.
The curse.
Cool. Yeah, it goes on and on. I've got a list of words anyway.
Yeah, I love that.
Sometimes I'll throw that out and it trips people up.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I'll figure it out.
I love that mentality too, of just, service towards other people, and realizing, I mean, you're right. I mean, I think we all desire this kind of level of respect, or, acceptance. And I don't know what says that better than somebody asking you for help. I mean, that's phenomenal. So before you started F3, you were already doing some running, or, and had experience in the Army. So from a fitness perspective, where were you at when you started doing the F3 workouts?
Oh, I'm the yo-yo man, tenfold, brother, like up and down, get fat and overweight and say, this is no good. And I go hardcore diet, exercise, and get all lean and fit, and then it falls apart again. So I've been yo-yo man ever since I got out of the Army. At least the Army, like, you didn't have a choice, brother. 6 o'clock every morning, you're going to be there, and if you're not, there are big serious consequences, right? The accountability was high.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in roles like as a company commander or a lieutenant, as a platoon leader. It's like, you're the leader. Yeah, you better show up. You better be there on time. But when I left the Army, yeah, man, I took a good corporate cubicle job as an engineer, and thinking about my life, and I didn't exercise anymore. A funny story, after I got out of the Army and I was in this engineering job for a few weeks, and I had this daydream. It was like, holy shit, here I am in cubicle farm. This is not in the Army flying helicopters anymore. I literally got a paper cut in my cubicle, and I wanted to stand up and yell, medic! I didn't. I kept it under control. But no, I've always been, the flux guy in that regard. So prior to F3, there was a period where I did hardcore P90X and didn't drink for a long time, and ate really well, got super fit. And then I finished P90X, and that ended. and then, but right before I joined F3, it was, I was going to the Y, hitting a workout, 5:30 in the morning, with a bunch of women, a couple of guys in the class. They were great workouts. I mean, they absolutely would smoke me. And I fell into the habit of that. And it was working really well. And then when F3 came along, it was that good, as good of a workout, but you know where we're going, right? But outside with a group of men and there's a relationship. So now we're stepping into the second F, like everybody experiences, and reflecting back on that time when you're working out at the YMCA. It's a really great workout, but no workout's done. Everyone suits up and leaves. And you don't really get to know people, not even the instructors, So that was always maybe something that's missing in that environment. That F3 is magical.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and have you? I'm assuming here, but have you read Free to Lead? I mean, as you read that story, or just as I'm hearing your story, there's several elements that I hear you kind of touching on that they call out. When you read that, what was your experience? Do you identify with a lot of that?
Yeah, no, I like Free to Lead. It's got some great points and lessons about life there. And what do they call it? The Pogo 40 or something like that. The yo-yo, the Pogo 40. It's like, yeah, that's me. It's also, points in your life where you are inappropriately trying to control everything in your career and what you're doing, and you don't have the right support network around you. You do, but you're not using it, and you're driving and trying to achieve and achieve and achieve. And maybe you can get some success out of that. The lone warrior, the lone man that goes into town and solves problems. And it's just such a myth. And that was me. I was a very achievement-oriented person in my career and the things I was doing. So the book resonated to me in that regard.
Yeah. What about the second half? So you mentioned, being able to build some relationships. I mean, how did that progress for you? Like, as you look back over the last 4 years, I mean, so Cyclone, right? You brought him along at some point, or you've always kind of had
right.
Yeah, but how have you experienced that second half?
Oh man, the second F is so powerful, as we all know. I am an extrovert, if you didn't know. I'm pretty sociable, pretty easy to talk to people, not shy. So the second F comes easy for me in those kind of environments. If you're in a group of men and they're having fun and laughing and joking, it's super easy. And I've always been like that. I've always been the kid playing soccer, doing sports, or in high school where I got along with everybody. I got along with the jocks and the stoners and the nerds. It didn't matter. I could mix that. So I've always found that to be easy. And in F3, it's even easier because it's just such a collection of great human beings. And I've said this before in other circles, that one of the things I hate about F3 is that there are so many great guys, you can't get to know them all well.
Yeah.
And you want to, but there's just not enough capacity and time. So as you have to choose, unfortunately, to some degree, what level of intimacy you can have with guys, but their names, something about them from the workouts and the COTs, and at least to some degree, something about that man. And there's a connection there just because we're part of this together.
Right.
I may not know everything about you and your backstory and what's going on, but we know enough. We know enough to respect and support each other.
Yeah, it is interesting because I've often felt like that's been a barrier to developing a shield lock for some guys. Is they're like, well, there's just so many people I would like to have in my shield lock, but you can't have everybody in your shield lock. And I'm with you.
Yeah.
What do you feel like you were able to? Have you found a group of guys you've been able to kind of share more intimately with, or what was your process or that just developed kind of organically over time?
Well, I would say I had that before F3.
Okay.
Waffle House, Cyclone, and a couple of people that aren't in F3 are part of our village. It's other families of the same generation, if you will, and their kids all had same experiences, and you become, not just parents of your kids' friends, but friends. Kids grow up and go away, but those relationships you have with those other people are really strong. So Cyclone and Waffle House and Matt Hospital, who's not an F3, who I'd love to come, and some other people are in that circle. So coming to F3, is obviously a huge blessing because you can add to that. And there's some guys, there's too many to name. And as soon as I start naming guys, I'm gonna be disappointed afterwards I didn't name them.
No.
But there are people you have a stronger relationship with. Just to hit a couple, like Vandalay, like he talks, we pre-run when we can. Khakis, Chicklets, these 50-something-year-old guys that we have something in common. And once in a while, we'll connect and do something more than just the workout. And that's awesome. That's awesome. That was really good.
How has the respect pop-up stuff been going? Do you feel like that's been another layer of kind of developing relationships among guys with a shared kind of generation or experience?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, no, that's super special. Just to break away and talk about things that are obviously much more relevant to the 50-plus-year-old group than the 20-plus-year-old group. And health and life and kids and parents aging and all of that transition of life is significant. And to have the opportunity to talk about those things in that kind of environment is healthy and just helpful. It's really good. While we're on the topic of pop-ups and special things, I want to publicly make a challenge here. And Mac and Cheese has already been given the challenge by me directly, but I want to throw Dome into this circle.
Okay.
That I think it would be cool if there was a hate pop-up.
Oh yeah.
The 20-something pop-up that just the young dudes are getting together for the similar purpose. And the reason I was inspired for this was I invited a young man named Banksy to F3, and he is dating the daughter of one of the village elders that is one of my best friends, and he's in town. He moved to Omaha about 3 or 4 weeks ago. His girlfriend isn't here right now. He's kind of on his own. Yeah. And so the parents said, hey, why don't you invite Yui to a workout? And I did, and he showed up, and now he's coming. It's like, and you need to meet some guys your age. He's 23. It's like, I'm glad you want to hang out and work out with me. This is awesome, and I'll do that. But so Dome and Mac and Cheese, it's on you.
All right.
Throwing it out there. Hope you accept the challenge to create a space and environment that's kind of special for the 20-somethings.
I love that. I think we interview Mac and Cheese next week, so I'll be sure to ask.
Oh, good.
Good. We have these guys that we do have, like some of these cohorts of guys. I was talking to a friend of mine who's in F3, and one of his struggles was like, I'm a single guy, single guy, mid-30s. Who do I hang out with, right? Like, I can't go to your house and hang out with your wife and your kids.
Yeah, with your wife and your baby, your toddlers. I suppose you could.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But, and I think the big thing was he's like, I want to hang out with people and do something other than just go hang out at the bar, and so
amen. Right.
Like-minded people that are your age, but maybe in that similar situation. So I think we have a ton of opportunity there. And the respect pop-up is a good example for that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
What so talk me through, I think faith is one of those concepts some guys, are really put off by that, maybe don't participate in F3 because of that faith word. But from your perspective, I guess where were you at from a faith perspective before, and how has F3 done anything to kind of help steward your relationship with SiteQ?
Oh yeah, it's enhanced it in a tremendous way. Born and raised Catholic, French Polak.
Okay.
Grandparents on my mom's side are Polish. My dad's, it's a French name. So I grew up Catholic, man, traditional, big family, go to church every Sunday, midnight mass, all of that stuff come from her. Raised our kids Catholic. And a few years ago, my wife and I decided to step away from the Catholic Church because of different things. But that doesn't diminish my faith in Christianity. I'm a Christian man. Mm-hmm. And I would add that I am an open-minded Christian man. I am open to learn and explore spirituality and the connection to the spirit, to the connection to the Great One in whatever channel and form that might present itself. Yes, I'm a Christian, and I think there's more. There's more things for us to discover and learn. So if in F3 that opens those doors and we're doing that, great. I will tell you, Brandon, that F3 is my church.
Yeah.
When it's, I joke when guys are launching the workout and we do the 5 core principles, we hit COT, and I would say that's my favorite part, because it is. When we come back around the COT and we group around a prayer, that's church. And, and this is where we're practicing. It's where I practice my faith. This is my church, and just accepting that blessing to be able to practice your faith in a complete non-traditional sort of way that, and it's working for me.
Yeah.
And those prayers and practicing your faith in that way is working for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that, that example. And I think of, the other person that you mentioned that you're really close with. That's just a good example of somebody that has a strong faith is Waffle House, thinking about everything he's been through and just, so I think it's cool for younger guys, and even, guys, kind of my age, middle age, to see, guys in our respect group that have experienced life and the application of faith and different kind of, religions and really, just sharing your perspective on that, I think is so helpful. And again, to the hate group, let's help those guys learn before they get married, before they have kids, before, I think if we can provide them insight there. But I wanted to get your perspective, because I just see, Waffle House has impacted so many guys, just his example of faith. But as a close friend of his, I mean, how did that, all of the events and stuff that he had gone through, I mean, from your perspective, because you were really this liaison to F3 between, Waffle and how was that event from your perspective, just everything that happened with him?
Share, Doug and Connie White have been personal friends for a long time. Our kids grew up together, went to the same schools. We went to the same church. They taught our kids in CCD. We jointly taught confirmation class. And but we know who they are, what they're about. We know their families and their moms and dads and their cousins and all of that. And, have a close personal relationship with a man like Waffle House. It's tough when someone you love gets their life altered in a big way. But what do, man? You take the next step. You step into that and you support them however you can, and just be there, But he'll be the first one to show up and say, with a smile on his face, and ask what we're going to do next.
Yeah.
Or, and just be there. It's not about the injury. It's just, we're still humans and we still have a relationship and friends. And he's paralyzed. That doesn't change the relationship. Other than we got to haul his ass around once in a while to get him up and down stairs and all that kind of thing. But life is good, brother, and we're still blessed. And his spirit continues to resonate through me and our friends and the F3 channels. And that's good, right? So it's all good. Just being real about it, there's no faking it. There's no beating around the bushes. It happened. This is new reality. Deal with it. Moving on.
Yeah.
And deal with it with a smile on your face. If you're hanging out with Waffle House and that group of people, there's no boo-hoo and wallowing in our victimhood. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that.
I love that, and just a great example of adversity. And I think from your perspective, how do you support a friend, that has that happen? And I think so. Thinking about just your relationship, and then kind of your transition to leading a site, kind of alongside him. Curious if you can talk to us about that. What was that experience like?
I did all the work. What are you talking about? Waffle House didn't do anything.
The truth
I mean,
comes
not be
out.
true.
The truth comes out.
Oh yeah. No, it's all good. The inspiration of having something downtown, not knowing how the park things and construction was going to blow up our plans or whatever. But just recognizing that he was going to be moving down there and having a site near somewhere convenient for him was kind of the original inspiration for that. But now that we're in the Gene Leahy Mall, it's becoming more of a reality, and the canyon will continue to grow, I'm sure, as we attract more him to that site. And it's a great place to spend a Saturday. If you haven't been, F3 Paxers of Omaha, come on down to the canyon once in a while. I'll be queuing Oscar Mike this Saturday, and there's a shovel flag pass this Saturday. So hopefully we'll see some new guys down there. It's pretty awesome. So just that joint leadership was easy, man. It was easy. You get someone you just trust, and they trust you, and we just bounced it. We didn't take it too seriously, just show up Saturday, guys, and let's work out. We got to move it, we move it. Go over to the gallop and all that. It just worked. It just worked.
Yeah.
Cyclone was part of that too. Remember, he was part of that joint shared leadership team and running the canyon. So it was fun and easy. And then you get the new guys, and the other half of the group, the normals out there, or the group of the youngins. It's been a lot of fun. Having that group of guys show up consistently has been great. And that's where you get to know people. It's like we're hitting the rally every Saturday and spending a good long coffee rama downtown with guys and sharing their stories. And it's good.
Tell us about the name. So I don't think everybody knows the story of where does the canyon come from, or what inspired that name.
We had so many good ideas for the name of that site all around the place. Well, if people don't know, downtown Omaha used to be called Jobbers Canyon because of the old industrial buildings that were big and tall and square and went for a couple of miles. It looked like a canyon, so Jobbers Canyon. So that's the spirit of the name, is to be downtown where the old Jobbers Canyon used to be. And obviously it's a pun because there is no canyon in the middle of Nebraska along the banks of the river. But we I think one of the names was the van, from the Saturday Night Live skit.
Down by the river.
Living in a van down by the river.
Yeah.
You don't get your act straight.
I love that. Well, and it does, I would say, for my time, the times I've posted there, the best sunrises in the Midwest. I mean, man, like running along the river and seeing the sun come up is, there's nothing like it.
Hitting the bridge, you got to go over the bridge, especially if you got new guys, you got to give them a good view. It's all good.
You can have 1 foot in Iowa, 1 foot in Nebraska, right at the same time.
That's right. And when that whole park opens up, it's going to be awesome, because you'll be going straight from Gene Leahy, go all the way down to the bridge and back. So the adventure continues to expand and get better. It's gonna be fun.
So I wonder if we could get some free leadership consulting here from you, because I know that's your expertise. But as you look at F3 and our kind of strategy for building leadership, anything you see there that maybe we need to look at or could be doing better, or I don't know, or do we need to pay for that kind of advice?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll give you maybe such a big question.
Yeah.
Like,
You're the expert, though. I want to pick your brain.
Okay. Well, consistent with F3, leadership is influence. And I love the model, the idea of we're influencing other people to move towards some purpose, some advantage. This is the definition of leadership from F3. And it's true. regardless of F3's definition, the spirit of leadership is to influence another human being to do something, hopefully for the purpose of some advantage, not for evil.
Yeah.
And we do that virtuously,
Mm-hmm.
because we can be an effective leader without virtue. I can get you to move. I can influence you with a stick or a carrot or a gun, perhaps,
Yeah.
or a whip. But that probably won't last. And maybe we'll achieve something together, but it won't be lasting. It won't leave a legacy.
Mm.
So if we want to move and influence people to some advantage for some higher power, some higher purpose, some bigger legacy, then the method by which we influence becomes the key point. And we do that virtuously. If you want to take the F3 model, it's courage, candor, commitment, consistency, and contentment. The 5 C's of virtue. Substitute that with whatever virtue is important to you, right? What are your values? What are you about? How do you want to do the work? And influence people with that spirit and behavior. I coach leadership for my clients, and I use that model because I think it's useful and it's a good vocabulary for leaders to have and think about. But the behavior of leadership in our influence. So what does candor really look like? What does consistency really look like? What does contentment really look like when I'm influencing people? And what are the behaviors that support that? So some simple tactical things would be, shout outs and recognitions. If you see a behavior that's good, acknowledge it, see it.
Yeah.
And consistent with F3 and accountability, if you see a behavior that's not cool, graciously tell the truth and call it out. We don't accept that behavior here, right? And that's what leadership does. Leadership is a conversation.
Yeah.
I can teach you the project management tools and methods and tactics. That's fine. We need that too. We need to know how to manage a project and solve problems and do root cause analysis and all those kinds of things. And I have to be able to influence a human being in the work. So it's that conversation we're going to have to influence you to take action. I like the idea of exhortation, the VATE, the 4 skills of leadership: vision, articulation, persuasion, and exhortation. We get to that point where someone actually starts to take action. If you don't recognize it, don't expect more of it.
Right.
So when I see somebody struggle in their movement towards this purpose we're trying to achieve, then you got to be all over that. Like, not just recognize it, but recognize it strongly.
Yeah.
I challenge my teams too. It's like exhortation is encouragement on steroids. If we use that vocabulary from F3, encouragement on steroids. And they're like, really? Do you really have to do it that hard? It's like, why don't you test me? Why don't you try it out? I would love to hear someone come back and tell me that they were encouraging someone so hard that they were told to back off. That hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So why don't you test it? And when you do, it'll be fun and funny.
Yeah.
We can talk about it, but then you'll know like what the limits are about how much you need to encourage people in the work. So those things. And then I would add coaching to that. So there's recognition of good behaviors, there's correction of bad behaviors, and there's coaching. And coaching is about 2 things: performance coaching. So if you are coachable and you want to learn, and I happen to know the right way to do it, and you're open to that, I'll tell you, here's what you need to do. But oftentimes people are not coachable in that traditional sense because they're ambivalent towards the change we're trying to make, and they're different, or they're not sure about it. So I got to coach you in a different way around open-ended questions to get you to see what the challenge is and what you need to do to work through this change, because there's nothing I can tell you to do that you're going to listen to. So coaching kind of comes in two colors: coaching for the coachable and coaching for the uncoachable. And there's tactics and things we can do to help with that. So it's a conversation. We would just summarize, put a period on that whole discussion. Leadership is influenced through a conversation. And if you aren't willing to get eyeball to eyeball and get intimate and vulnerable with your people,
Yeah.
what are you left with?
Yeah. Wow, I love that. And that's partly why I wanted to ask you that question, just because I know you have so much wisdom in that area. And I think so I manage a group of people, but something I've often recognized about F3 is the relationships I have with other guys make some of those pieces a little easier, right? So it's easy for me to,
Yeah.
to give you feedback or coaching, and I think a lot of the guys in F3 are coachable, but yeah, I love your wisdom there. And I think Sparty always mentions this too, is like the some of the Q source topics and some of that stuff, a lot of it applies both in F3, but it also applies outside of F3. So I love that you've done that. If not that this is necessarily a plug, but I think we've had other guys on the show that have a professional skill, and so if guys want to reach out to you and engage in a kind of coaching discussion, is that an option, or how do we do that?
Absolutely. Of course. Yeah. That's my purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. My purpose and my passion.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
lean into that. I will entertain any question people need help with.
Okay.
Yeah, you said relationship, and this is key. I can't graciously tell you the truth in an effective way if we don't have relationship. Trust is built on that relationship. And so if you haven't spent some time with your people to get to know who they are and how they think and where their strengths are and where their weaknesses are and really know each other, then it's hard to get to that place where we can have trust and productive conflict and accountability.
Yeah.
So you spend some time. It takes time. And that position of leadership needs to get to relationship, which means I got to invest time with people to get to know them. So then how much I love you. You know how much I care about you personally. And when you know that, now we can get into conflict and accountability, and we're going to be healthier because I'm not doing it to be a jerk.
Right.
I'm doing it for our mutual success,
Right.
to help each other get along. Just another thing that occurred to me on this is, I got to listen to a podcast by Alan Mullally through Vistage that I'm a part of now. And so it was an exclusive interview discussion with Alan Mullally with Vistage coaches. And he said something that really resonated with me, that I just super simple and powerful. And he said, anybody wants to know 3 things about their leader. Number 1, who are you? Who are you, leader? Why are you here? You here for yourself to make money and for your own achievement? Or are you here for the common good in the service of something bigger, right? Who are you and why are you here? That's number 1. Number 2 is, okay, leader, where are you going? Where are we going? Like, what's your vision? Where are we going? And how do you think we're going to get there? Vision, strategy. That's number 2. And then the third question is, do you see me? So who are you? Where are we going? And do you see me? I'm on your team, going to help you achieve this thing. Do you know who I am? Do you acknowledge and respect what I'm bringing to the table?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really powerful message in terms of leadership. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the relationship between a boss and a subordinate. It could be 2 or 3 guys.
Right.
Who are you?
No.
Where are you going? How are you going to get there? And do you see me? And vice versa. And I think that's a good model, good thing for us to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Relationship, engaging each other.
I love that. Yeah. And Alan Mullally, he's the CEO of Ford, and
Used to be voted the best CEO in the world.
Yeah.
Best executive. And he jokes, he's like, well, I'm not better than the Pope, I don't think.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm number 2. Yeah, no, a lot of wisdom.
I love that. Thank you
Had
for
significant success. Yeah.
I think that's really good, and that's I think something that several guys have called out about F3 is, like 2-step, right? So it's like I see you, right? That's why he does this.
Yeah. I love his message about that. So good.
Just the kind of willingness to see other guys for who they are, where they are. I love that. I am curious if you have any thoughts or encouragement, advice for the packs as new guys come in, or even just engaging with the large number of guys that are posting regularly. I mean, any advice there, or I guess maybe what are some things we could do to really help a guy know that we do see him? How do we do that?
Oh man, I think we do a pretty good job with it, Brandon. A new guy comes on board. There's a lot of love initially. Welcome and cheer his name, and at the end we cheer his name again. And afterwards, people follow up and go see him and talk to him. And that's it. Just do more of that. And just keep pulling them in the next time they show up. Remember his name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like remember his name. And that can be a tricky thing to do if we just make that a conscious effort and make a note. It can work pretty easy. Yeah, and get curious. Maybe that would be another thing is if you're talking to somebody, like get authentically curious. It's like, who is this person? Tell me your story.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Who are you? You have family, you have kids. Tell me your story. Why, what brought you? All of that.
Yeah.
And I know we do it. So maybe just do it more.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'm always, when a new guy shows up, if I get the opportunity to be in their group, I'm always like, okay, I gotta help this guy. My goal is help them to come up with the right story to tell in the circle to get a good name. I'm like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sports team? Like, be sure not to name your favorite sports team. Would
Right.
be advice Cyclone might give us. Like, no, don't say. There's certain things you shouldn't say. Right.
I love it. What's
Yeah, that's good.
There's a lot of stuff that we could talk about. I think I want to respect your time, but I also want to know, something that, and I wish Tony was here because he really added this component to our discussions with folks. But what about for you? I know you got a lot going on. You've got family stuff and work stuff, but as we see you out there in the gloom, what could we be encouraging you with, or how could we be supporting, encouraging you?
Yeah, thank you for asking this. One of the coolest things of your podcast that you guys ask this question. It's really very, very good. I'm a blessed man, Plague. I'm a very blessed man. I have much to be grateful for. We're healthy, kids thriving. Got a great relationship with my wife of 31 years coming up.
Wow, that's
Got
awesome.
good friends, a great house and a great job and a purpose in life. So there's little to want for. So your question was a little tricky, and I knew you were going to ask me. So here I'll say this: I'm pretty distractible.
Okay.
I want to do lots of stuff, and therefore sometimes maybe I have a little hard time focusing, getting the most important things done. We go through our day and get done at the end of the day. It's like, man, I was in my office all day, but I'm not sure what the hell I accomplished today. It's not like I was on social media all day,
Right.
just doing all the random noisy things. So I need to be better, Plague, at focusing on the most important things in my own personal discipline in that work.
Yeah.
Like I get up and I go work out every morning, and that's pretty good discipline for me, and I have my routines. But man, I need to go to bed earlier.
Yeah.
I really do need to eat a little healthier. And in my work, there's some things I need to say no to, and I need to focus on the critical important stuff. So that's what I would ask for, personally. Yeah, encouragement and helping me with my focus and personal discipline.
Yeah. Well, we'll be sure to ask you.
A lot of work to do with that.
Yeah. I'll ask you, what did you get done yesterday? What time did you go to bed?
That would be good. Yeah. I'd be like, shit, I don't know. Let me think about it. Let me go back. What did I do? Yeah,
Procrastinate on Purpose was a book I recently read about that. How do you, kind of say no, delegate or schedule the things, and so that may be one for you to check out. But
it's funny. Yeah, totally. I would love to read that book. That sounds really good because there's a spirit to that. And we are addicted to our devices and all these things, and having, discipline to put that away and have, real human time is important. And it's funny and ironic because my wife calls me out on this more than she needs to, probably. But she's like, maybe you should practice what you preach a little bit. As my office is a mess and I coach people around, workplace organization. He's like, how about you apply that to your own world? And the other thing that resonated with me as you told me the story about that book was one of the things we talk about with leadership teams when they're setting strategy is that you have to decide where you're going to focus on.
Yeah.
And if you study the etymology of the word decide, it's pretty cool because the last four letters is CIDE, side. And it sounds like herbicide, fungicide, homicide. All those words mean to kill. And to decide means to kill the thing you're not going to do.
Yeah.
So you can focus on the thing you're going to do.
Oh, I love that. That's
And
good.
it's funny because I preach it and I coach it, but it's like, you need to look in the mirror, brother. I
Yeah.
can do a better job of that myself.
Well, we got a lot.
Yeah.
We got a lot when we see you out there. And this has been a pleasure. I do think, just in this short time, I mean, just uncovering your story and clearly your wisdom and passion around coaching others. So I hope guys, when they see you, they ask you about your to-do list or your, what time you went to bed. And then I also do really hope, as guys are listening, if they're needing or wanting some coaching and leadership, I hope they reach out to you because I think I might. I've got that on my list. I need some one-on-one coaching, but I will we'll take us out in Namarama. Sound good?
Let's do it.
All right. Brandon Flehardy, 36, The Plague.
Plague, virtual fist bump.
Yeah.
Jesse Priest, 54. Total control.
TC respect.
TC.
When is your birthday? You just had a birthday?
Yeah. August 1st.
August 1st. Well, happy belated.
Yeah. I
Thanks
didn't get a note in my car like Vandalay that reminded me remember today you're 52.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for your time today, man. This has been great.